Thank you. Yes, guess that's the word I've been searching for you. It took 10 months and a lot of cigarettes for me to arrive at this one, yes sir. Thank you for taking the other point of view in a story that was set in concrete. Thank you for taking advantage of my insecurities. You really
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Leaving Wonderland. I'm CJ Bailey. I have a microphone, I have an Audacity program, and I'm here to dissect queer representation in media. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today we're going to be discussing Marvel's New Warriors project, especially Marvel's newest non-binary character, Snowflake, and their brother, Safespace. Now, Marvel's New Warriors series is nothing new. The comic series actually originates back in the 80s and 90s, where it was rocking that classic 80s and 90s comic book style. You know the one I'm talking about, with the tight-fitting spandex suits, which is just an excuse to not draw their characters completely naked. I'm talking latex titty pockets, contoured muscle suits, and body designs that can only be described as exaggerated. The comic series span multiple plot lines and multiple series of stories. If somebody could explain comic book plot lines to me and how to get into them, I will love you forever. I have tried many times to get into comic books, and every single time, the plot lines are more complicated than Doctor Who. Returning in this new series are the original team: Firestar, Night Thrasher, Namorita, Speedball, and Justice. Firestar can generate and control microwave radiation. Basically, she can light things on fire. Night Thrasher has Batman powers. He's basically Marvel's response to Batman. His parents died and left him money, and now he's on his revenge quest. I don't know how much more Batman you can get, but here we are. Then there's Justice, with his telekinetic powers, Namorita, who has super strength connected to water, Speedball, whose powers include the ability to bounce bullets, and for a time to transform into a character called Penance, who wore a suit with 615 inward-facing spikes. Yeah, no one ever tell me that comic books are for kids, because that's some dark, masochistic shit. Finally, there's Nova, who's basically a space cop. These characters are returning in this series as adults to mentor the new crew of vigilantes, who are the ones that the internet has decided to take problem. First, we have Trailblazer, who has a special inheritance from her grandfather that comes in the form of a backpack of plot convenience. Basically, it's a pocket dimension in a bag that she can pull random things out of that's not always in her control. I'm very excited to see how that gets used, because she claims her powers come from God, but not the one you're thinking of. Then there's Screen Time, who begins the unfortunate naming convention that I will get to in a minute. His power is that he was exposed to internet gas. Yeah, it's a comic book, we're just gonna roll with it, and is now permanently hooked into the internet. After that, we have B Negative, who's the goth kid who's into early aughts music and has vampire powers from a blood transfusion. Finally is the ones that have become infamous: Snowflake and Safespace. These two twins have complementary powers, where Snowflake is the offensive and Safespace is the defensive. Snowflake can make ice shurikens, which are ninja throwing stars, and throw them at enemies. Safespace can make force fields, but only when he's protecting someone else and not himself. Now, I would like to start by saying that I don't find these characters as offensive as the internet seems to have made them out to be. I know, right? I'm gonna get so much traffic from this. Hot take. These characters aren't that bad. The designs are simple, but memorable. I love a good, simple power setup. So here's my hot take. I really do like to see some diversity put into a new superhero team. Trailblazer is a plus-size hero. Snowflake and Safespace are black, and Snowflake is non-binary. I'm not a hardcore comics fan, as I've said, but I do actually think I'm going to be reading this comic. If not just because Trailblazer seems like a very cool character. There's something about the line, "She claims her powers come from God, but not the one you're thinking of," that just draws me to her as a character. Like, I feel like she's going to be interesting and worth experiencing. Now I'm actually going to talk about the problems with these characters. I do understand where Daniel Kibblesmith is going for with his reclaiming of words traditionally used to harass young liberals. However, I believe the characters of Snowflake, Safespace, and Screen Time show a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to reclaim a word and what words need to be reclaimed in the first place. Safespace is the easiest to explain because Safespace is not a slur. It's a real thing that exists. Victim service centers, queer spaces on college campuses, even therapist office, these are all places that could be classified as a safe space. A safe space isn't just a little room full of stress balls where people can go if they get triggered during a lecture on consent. It's anywhere where people can go where they don't have to feel challenged on who they are or the experiences they've had. It's a place where people's identities and experiences are valued and allowed to exist. This is a term that has real meaning, and I find it to be cheapening of it to use it in the context of a superhero's reclaimed name. It may be used by some right-wing nutjobs to make fun of liberals, but that doesn't mean it needs to be somehow taken back, because it never was taken in the first place. Now, Snowflake is a little bit more complicated, and my issues with the design go a little bit beyond just the name and into my own experience with being non-binary. Basically, I think Snowflake is a bit of a stereotype. They are coded, at least, to be assigned female at birth, mildly androgynous, and the name only reinforces the problem of the stereotypical non-binary person. And the name only reinforces the stereotype of a non-binary person as someone who lets what others think get to them in a bad way. To me, naming a character Snowflake signals that that character cares way too much about what others think of them. Snowflake is an irrelevant term used by people who can't think of a better argument. And so when someone decides that they need to take that word and wear it as a badge of honor, it shows that they're not letting it roll off their back like the irrelevant term it is. Screen Time is the same way, but less philosophical. The name is more lazy than anything and portrays a creator more at home on mommy blogs than in the depths of Reddit comment wars. These names and concepts feel like what an adult man would think teenagers think are cool, rather than what a woke teenager would actually think is cool. This makes them feel patronizing and dated, rather than like someone a queer teenager would actually put themselves in the place of. Now, that's not to say I hate everything about them. Like I said, I don't find them particularly offensive at all. For the most part, I love the designs, especially Trailblazers. I would like to see more androgyny in Snowflake's design, but non-binary people don't have to be androgynous by any stretch, and we have only seen them in one outfit, so they might have a completely different style than that outfit would lead us to believe. I love that the twins complement each other, but that otherwise the designs are as diverse as the characters. And we do have to remember when we're discussing any of this, and I think that's what gets forgotten in a lot of this discussion, that we are basing it on very limited information. The comic book was supposed to be out by now, but with everything going on right now, the release has been delayed until, I believe it's July at this point. So, for all we know, Safespace and Snowflake are wonderful, deep, well-thought-out characters, despite their problematic naming choices. Kibblesmith wanted his characters to take those words and wear them as badges of honor. And this is not, in and of itself, a bad goal. But, for my final point, I don't think Kibblesmith is the one to do it. These characters don't feel genuine, and the words that they use don't feel genuine to the communities they are meant to represent because they aren't. They're written by a cishet white liberal man, and he may have the best of intentions, but intentions cannot replace experience. I would love to see what these characters would have been had there been more queer creators and creators of color involved in the writing process. Even just having a sensitivity reader could have saved Marvel a lot of PR mess. At some point, somebody really needed to stop, look Kibblesmith in the eyes, Emmy nominations and all, and say, I can see what you're trying to do here, but it really isn't working. And who knows, maybe the backlash to the design reveal will be a wake-up call to Marvel that diversity is more than just saying your character is in the diverse category. This is Marvel's first attempt at a non-binary character, and I would love to see more in the future.
Oh, I'm not one to linger in the past, oh, but my dreams won't let sleeping dogs lie. So I guess you deserve a little song in this book before we say goodbye.
Now, after we've discussed the problematic stuff, let's discuss some unproblematic content for all of you lovely, lovely people to enjoy. I'm hoping to use this section in the future to shout out indie creators whose work needs more of you beautiful people to consume it. But for today, I'm going to start off with the podcast that inspired me to make this podcast, the Penumbra Podcasts. This show features a wide array of queer characters with a charming style and powerful storytelling. It's made me laugh, cry, and feel the whole spectrum of human emotions. But I think they're the best ones to tell it. At the Penumbra, you might follow Juno Steele, a brooding, sharp-witted private eye on Mars, as he tangles with the elusive Homme Fatale, tracks dangerous artifacts of an ancient alien civilization, and faces his three greatest fears: heights, blood, and relationships. Or you might enter the world of the Second Citadel, where the merciless Sir Caroline must corral a team of emotionally distraught all-male knights to defend their city against mind-manipulating monsters, even the ones they've fallen in love with. These audio dramas and more await you in the Penumbra, dear traveler. We hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you for listening to Leaving Wonderland, where we know that nobody deserves to be in the closet, and that representation is an important part of helping people find their place in the queer community. If you have an idea for a topic I should cover next, email me at leavingwonderlandpodcast@gmail.com. To get your name put here at the end of the episode, and to get access to bonus content, join my Patreon at patreon.com/Clara Jo Bailey. Thank you to the Jane Austen Argument for the use of their song, Song in This Book, written by Tom Dickens. Have a great day, you beautiful people.
Wait, fuck you? Yes, I know that's the phrase that I've been searching for all of this time. Because it took a lot of time for me to forgive my carnivorous curiosities. It takes two to tango and two to fuck. Well, I hope in tango you might have more luck, but I'll propose a toast to you anyway, 'cause 10 months later I'm okay. Well, apparently I am one to linger in the past, oh, but my dreams won't let sleeping dogs lie. So I guess you deserve a little song in this book the next time you and I